In the quiet village of Verendale, nestled between misty hills and the glimmering river Arlen, there was a forest that everyone feared but no one could ignore. They called it the Whispering Forest, for the winds that danced through its branches often seemed to carry voices, soft, ghostly murmurs that sent shivers down the spines of those who dared wander too close. Some said the voices were the spirits of the lost, others believed they were the wind's way of telling forgotten stories. Whatever the case, the villagers made a point to steer clear of the forest, especially after nightfall. But Elara, a curious girl of 16 summers, was different from the rest. She had always been fascinated by the whispers. While the others avoided the forest, she often stood at its edge, listening to the faint melodies the wind seemed to weave between the trees. It didn't frighten her, if anything, it made her wonder. She could never quite make out what the voices were saying, but it was as if they were calling her, beckoning her to discover their secrets. Elara lived with her grandmother, Mara, who often warned her to stay away from the forest, especially as she grew older and her curiosity deepened. "The forest is not for us, child," Mara would say, her voice stern but tinged with sadness. "It holds old magic, forgotten magic. Once you enter, the forest decides if you'll return." But Elara had never been one to fear the unknown, and her longing to understand the whispers only grew stronger with each passing year. The other villagers told stories of people who had entered the forest never to return, or of those who had come back changed, speaking in riddles or losing their way even in their own homes. Still, Elara couldn't shake the feeling that there was something waiting for her within those ancient woods. One evening, as the sun dipped low in the sky, casting long shadows across the village, Elara made her decision. Armed with a lantern and a small dagger for comfort, she set out toward the forest. The air grew cooler as she approached the tree line, and the whispers seemed to grow louder, clearer, as if they sensed her coming. "Elara! Elara!" The wind sang, her name carried on the breeze like a lullaby. The path before her was barely visible, but the forest seemed to guide her, opening gently with each step she took. The further she walked, the more the trees seemed to close in around her, their towering forms like sentinels standing watch. The ground beneath her feet felt soft, almost alive, as if the forest itself was breathing. The canopy above was thick, allowing only slivers of moonlight to filter through, casting an eerie glow over everything. Suddenly, the path opened into a clearing she had never seen before, despite all her childhood explorations. In the center stood a tree unlike any other, a towering silverwood, its bark shimmering like frost in the moonlight, and its leaves glowing with a soft, otherworldly light. At the base of the tree sat an old woman, her long, silvery hair flowing down her back, blending into the glow of the tree. Elara hesitated, but the woman's gaze met hers, and in those eyes, she saw both kindness and sorrow, wisdom and loss. The woman smiled softly. "I've been waiting for you, child," she said, her voice as soft as the whispers Elara had heard her whole life. Elara stepped forward, her heart pounding with excitement and fear. "Who are you?" she asked, her voice barely above a whisper. "I am Ariadne, the guardian of the Whispering Forest," the woman replied. "And you, Elara, have been chosen to take my place." Elara's heart skipped a beat. "Chosen," she repeated, her voice trembling. "But why me?" The old woman's smile deepened, though her eyes were sad. "Because you are the only one who listens. The forest speaks, but few hear it with their hearts. You have always heard it, haven't you?" Elara nodded, still unsure of what this all meant. "But, what does it mean to be the guardian?" Ariadne rose slowly, her frail form seeming almost weightless as she moved closer to Elara. "The forest is alive," she explained. "It holds the memories of all who have passed through its paths, the stories of the ancient ones, the lost, the forgotten. My task has been to protect these stories, to ensure they are not forgotten. But my time is ending, and the forest has chosen you to carry on this duty." Elara felt a mixture of awe and uncertainty. "What if I fail? What if I can't protect the stories like you have?" "You won't fail," Ariadne said gently. "The forest chose you because you are meant for this. Trust in its wisdom, and in your own heart. You will not be alone. The forest will guide you." With that, the old woman placed her hands on Elara's shoulders, and a warmth flooded through her. The whispers grew louder, clearer, and suddenly, she understood them. They weren't just voices, they were stories, fragments of lives long gone, waiting to be heard and remembered. Ariadne smiled one last time before stepping back. The forest is now yours to guard. Listen well, Elara, for its stories are more precious than gold, and more fragile than you can imagine. As the old woman faded into the shadows, becoming one with the forest, Elara felt a profound sense of responsibility settle over her. The glowing tree before her pulsed with life, and she knew that her journey was only beginning. The forest whispered all around her, and she understood every word. She was no longer just Elara, the curious village girl. She was the new guardian of the whispering forest, and the keeper of its endless stories. From that day forward, the villagers noticed a change in her. Though she still lived among them, Elara spent more time in the forest than ever before, and when she returned, she spoke less but seemed to know more. Her eyes now carried the weight of ages, as if she had lived 1,000 lifetimes. And though the villagers still feared the forest, they also respected it, for they knew that within its depths, their stories, too, would one day be kept safe, whispered through the wind, remembered by the trees, and guarded by Elara, who listened to the secrets of time.